All right, let's jump into this recruiting class. TJ Lateef out of Orange County. I love the kid. I think he's got a quick release. Reminds me a little bit of C.J. Stroud when he was at Ohio State. Thoughts on bringing him in as the next quarterback?
Yeah, I think for Nebraska, it was a hard sell to get a quarterback initially because you have Dylan Raiola, and at that time you had Daniel Kaelin. So to get another quality high school quarterback was not easy. TJ Lateef, a four-star, plays against some of the highest competition in the country and obviously within California. So he's pressed and pushed at the highest level. And look,
make every throw.
He's going to be walking into an opportune situation at Nebraska because of the quarterback. Heinrich Haarberg is now playing tight end, and Daniel Kaelin has left the program.
Yep, no doubt. Let's jump into our running backs because one of the most decorated running backs in the entire country, Connor Booth, of course, we know what he did at Bishop Neumann, over almost 3,000 yards, 6,000 yards for his career. Do you think of him as a developmental back? The kid's got a big, tough, strong lower body.
Yeah, 2,900 plus yards rushing, was recently named the Nebraska Gatorade High School Player of the Year, which that was a tough award. There were a lot of accomplished people that could have got it, but he's proven. He's been a 2-year commit to Nebraska now, wanted to be here. He's going to try to play baseball as well. Where does he fit now? What will his freshman year look like? Obviously, he'll be here ready to roll, and he's been committed for a long time.
Reminds me a lot of Arian Foster, who I watched play in high school in Albuquerque. Same kind of lower body, very shifty guy. More speed, though. Jamarian Parker, this was a good get out of Cardinal Ritter, one of the best high schools in the country.
And give Keith Williams a lot of credit. Yep. St. Louis, with his connection, they got him on campus in the spring back in March, and I think that was pivotal to build that relationship. He had a really, really good season when you look at what he did. 1,564 yards, 18 touchdowns. Yeah. This past season in St. Louis. And look, with running backs, if they're good, they have a chance to play right away.
Yeah, and you want to bring these guys in because much talent as you can around your now sophomore quarterback.
Yeah, Nebraska needs to get more explosive in the offense. They've had little pieces here and there. They've had bigger bodies. Nebraska needs to get more explosive to guys that you get the ball in space and go do your thing, right? And that's the kind of the piece you miss. Barney kind of had that element to it. Emmett Johnson kind of brought that element to it, but you needed some guys that say, here you go, do your thing, make a couple guys miss, and go hit your head on the goalpost.
Yeah, and these two guys could easily be thunder and lightning as we go along. By the way, I like Joe McKnight for a comp for him. Let's get to wide receivers. Cortez Mills, good get for Nebraska, highest rated of the wide receivers.
No doubt, and to use an NFL analogy, you kind of have a draft budget, a draft class.
Yeah.
And this was probably your first round pick when you kind of look how Nebraska had to allocate how they went with their NIL. I mean, they went all in to flip Cortez Mills from Oklahoma, and that was not easy because Oklahoma was not going to let him go. But I think the key piece was Ja'Cory Barney and him are very close. Dylan Raiola was key in this, and obviously Nebraska had the NIL to make all this happen. But there is no doubt, if he stays healthy, he's a day one guy that will play immediately for the Huskers.
Watch him high point the ball. DJ Moore is my comp for him. I like him a lot. Isaiah Mosey, let's talk about the flip. Kansas City area. More athletic a little bit, more of a shiftier back playing inside. I like him as kind of a Steve Smith Sr. look because he's tough.
Yeah, he's an inside guy. He played running back a little bit, and his father, Jamar, came on staff at Nebraska. So kind of a 2-for-1 move here by Matt Rule to get his father on staff. Then you get his son, who's a 4-star. They flipped him, Michael, from Oregon. He was a longtime commit from Oregon, but now they're in Kansas City. Williams Nwaneri, the former 5-star that was at Missouri in the portal. Well, guess who he played for in high school? Jamar Mosey.
Right.
So watch that one closely.
Watch that one. Let's get Jeremiah Jones because I put A.J. Brown for him, and I know that is an aggressive comp, but this kid is a big physical freak.
Yeah, this might be your second-round pick in the class.
Easily, yeah.
When you look at him, on 3, our ratings team is absolutely in love with Jeremiah Jones. They have him ranked as high as any of the recruits in the class, and with his size, and everyone was all in on Michael Terry. This is a similar type of guy that can play a lot of positions, and it was a battle. Missouri and a number of other teams were trying to flip him on signing day, and again, it took Nebraska's collective to kind of close the deal on him late. But with his athletic ability, I'm really intrigued what he can bring to the table.
Yeah, on 3, it's the #1 player in Kentucky and the 3rd best athlete in the group. Let's get to another great athlete, Jackson Carpenter, the little kid out of Southwest High. This is lazy, but Brandon Riley is who I comped him to.
Brandon was fast, but he's faster. I mean,
he's faster.
Jackson holds the school record at Lincoln Southwest in the 100. 10.5 guy, 38-inch vertical, highly explosive. His high school team did not win a lot his junior and senior year, so he wasn't really featured at the highest level, but I think if he was on a Millard South or a West Side, one of the top programs, he would really have dominated and put up huge numbers. But you look at him, he played 3 sports: football, basketball, was a great track athlete.
He ran 10.68 as a junior in the 100. Let's go to Tanner Teach, the last of the wide receivers. This is one of the best players out of Colorado Nebraska's bringing in.
It was kind of one of those years in Colorado where there wasn't a consensus number 1. Some people had him number 1 in the state, but he's a 10.8, 10.9 guy that had a really, really good year and was committed. And I think Nebraska wants to continue to go into Colorado and lock up the top players, at least get 1 or 2 every year.
Yeah, 10.93 and 100 as a senior. Reminds me of Luke McCaffrey once he got to Rice as a wide receiver. He's tough, go get the ball. What do you think of this wide receiver class?
It's really, really good. Obviously, get Mills. These guys are going to be coming in. A lot of guys are going to have opportunity to play. With losing Malachi Coleman, you have some seniors that are playing as well that are going to be leaving. You're going to have every opportunity to step foot on campus day one and contribute. You got to understand the play system, get in with Holgerson, develop a relationship with Dylan Raiola, and it's going to be right there for the taking. And if you can make plays and you can be explosive, you understand, and you work hard, it's going to be right there for the taking for him.
All right, let's go to the key for any team, and offense especially, is the offensive line. And we start with Juju Marks, who is almost an identical look to Micah Mazuka. He looks same number, looks just like him as well out of Olathe, Kansas.
It's funny, on his recruiting visit, he was standing and talking to Micah Mazuka on the sidelines.
Yeah.
But he was a late flip for Nebraska, Juju Marks. He was committed to Kansas, and Nebraska came in. Look, they need tackle bodies on this roster, and I think Juju Marks out of Kansas City gives them a great body and another Kansas City prospect where they're going to continue to push.
The next one is Sean Hammerbeck, who's really interesting because this is a guy who played tight end, played some defensive end, a little bit like the way J.J. Watt did when he got to Wisconsin. Let's talk a little bit about what he brings to this offensive line.
Yeah, number 1 player in South Dakota, unanimous in terms of the rankings on that end. And I think for Nebraska, it's important to always try to go up to South Dakota. They've had great success in South Dakota over the decades where, generally if you get that top player, they've gone on to be really good players in the program. Guys like Nathan Gary and and Matt Farniak and some of the players in recent years. And, I think Hammerback is somebody that really fits that mold that can play here right away.
Yeah, and he's, you look at him already, he's already big enough to play offensive line. He's just going to get bigger. I can certainly see him as a tackle. Is it Kahina Torres? Kahana? No part at the end there. Let's talk about him coming in out of Hawaii, a place that obviously Nebraska loves to recruit, loves to get those Polynesians.
And look at that high school, St. Louis High School, the home of Dominic Raiola.
Yeah.
So connection obviously to the Raiola family, and one of the top players in Hawaii. For Nebraska, they've really created a pipeline. Preston Taumua a year ago was from there, and then you have Kahana Torres this year. So 2 years in a row now, they've been able to go in to Hawaii and land 2 of the better offensive linemen.
A little bit of a lumbering guy, a little bit like Javario Burks, who reminds me of a little bit. What do you think of this offensive line group?
Really good. You have some, opportunities, right? You have some with Benhart leaving, Turner Corcoran having the injuries. Some young guys have had to step up, and the young guys stepped up big time this year. You want to talk about Evans, Gatula, Latovsky.
You're going
to have some opportunities. Again, some young guys that I brought in last year that were more development. It's going to be an excellent opportunity for these guys to step up. And if you commit to the nutrition, weight room, and you understand everything, the opportunity is right there to step in and play day one.
Move over to defense. I actually think this position is the best of the positions they've recruited based off of the guys they have in here. We start off with Dawson Merritt, and I know it's the number and the way he stands, but he looks like Randy Gregory. Come on. He looks just like Randy Gregory.
For Nebraska late, this was another flip from Alabama, and they worked hard to get Dawson Merritt in this class. Alabama had him, committed in the spring, and he had visited Nebraska multiple times. You knew he wanted to be here. But it just, at the time, in his heart of hearts, he thought Alabama made more sense. But as the process moved on, Nebraska was able to flip him and get him on board. And his father works for the Kansas City Chiefs, so a very football-savvy family.
This next one is really interesting out of Galveston, Texas. Malcolm Simpson, right now, more like 6'3", 265 according to Nebraska's numbers on him. Where do you see him fitting? What do you see him growing into if they stay in a 3-3-5?
Well, he's a basketball player, too, so he can run, he can move.
Yeah.
He's somebody that has elite upside when you look at his body and his frame and the way he moves and the year that he had.
Yeah.
I think he's probably a defensive end type, that can play on the line in the 3-3-5. But how will his body grow once he stops playing basketball? I mean, I believe this summer,
Yeah.
he's going to play. He plays AAU basketball. He's played the AAU basketball for his whole life. So once he concentrates just on football, what will that look like?
And I apologize for this, a bigger Von Miller. I know he's a Hall of Famer, but still. And then I leave this one up to Sean because Sean knows how to say this D lineman out of North Dakota's name very well.
I was on a Fargo TV station. I got verification. It's Pedshock.
Pedshock.
If you can get that out of that, let me know.
Got it, sure. Easy.
But I think for Jay Moore, this is a Jay Moore comp here.
Yeah.
Cade Pedshock is an animal. At West Fargo, had a humongous year, was without a doubt the #1 player in North Dakota.
I think he grows into, though, more of a Baker Steinkuhler. This kid's going to be 280, 290.
He's one of the best guys in the class.
You can see that body type where he adds 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And he's still be able to move really well. He's going to be a 3 technique inside, more of a Ty Robinson type of role.
Exactly.
Instead of I'd say Simpson is more of a Jamari Butler type of role within this 3-3-5. So yeah, he can add some weight and still be athletic.
And then of course out of Omaha North, Tyson Terry, who you hope develops into the next polar bear. I know that's what a lot of people think about him on the defensive side. He was an offensive line as well. What do you think of Tyson
And look,
Terry?
they're the same size in high school. You think, Nash is, no.
6'3", 305.
Nash had to be 285 because he wrestled 285. Well, guess what? Tyson Terry's a 285 guy. He wrestles that. He's going for his 4th title. You won't find too many kids tougher than Tyson Terry.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a true North Omaha family, and they just bleed toughness when you're around the Terrys and get to know them. Yeah. And, I've known the brothers and his father, and Tyson is cut out of that same cloth.
First freshman to win the heavyweight as a freshman in Class A ever. Tells you what he is as a wrestler. What do you think about overall this defensive line and this class?
I see a lot of tremendous upside. I see guys who can come in here, and again, with the departures of Ty Nash, Keona Davis, Jamari Butler, I know Princewell as well. I'm not going to try to Umanyalan, butcher his last name. There's, again, opportunity. Again, you got to come in with the right mentality, and opportunities are there if you want to fully understand the system. In the 3-3-5, it's going to be interesting to see putting these younger guys in these scenarios because there's so many positions you play. You can play a 5 technique, a 3 technique. So it's hard to fully grasp all that. But if you're willing to learn and get better, it's going to be there for the taking.
I said D-line. What do you think is the strongest of the positions in terms of recruiting?
I mean, wide receiver with the Mills, and the late stuff that they got done there. I think you'd have to make a case for wide receiver, but defensive line as well. I mean, those are, to me, the two that jump out and what they're going to be able to get.
I think what Sean said about T.J. Lateef coming in here, you have to have the right attitude. You know that you're probably sitting for 2 years. But if you do everything right, you could be the starter when Dylan leaves.
Absolutely. You look at that because Dylan's here for at least 2 more years.
Yep.
You do have to have the right mentality, and I think that's been preached to him since day one. It's like, hey, you're not going to, unless something happens to Dylan, knock on wood, that you're going to have to sit and you're going to learn. But sometimes that's okay for kids, but that's a hard thing to understand and grasp. Like you said, Michael, you have to have the attitude and understanding that I'm not going to come in here. But it can be good too because you don't have the pressure put on you. You can learn, you can develop, you can sit in meetings and learn from Holgerson and learn from Dylan and grasp everything and really develop the mental aspect of it too, and not be put right onto the limelight like Dylan was so early, and just kind of sit back and say, I'm just going to learn, I'm going to develop, and when my time is called, I'm going to be ready. One
of the sneaky reasons why Nebraska became what Nebraska did in the early 90s were those local recruiting classes, especially in Omaha. You got some good players come out of Omaha this year.
Yeah, when you look at this class of talent in the Omaha and Lincoln area, but particularly Omaha, it's as deep as you're going to see in terms of the number of guys that signed with Power 4 schools. And Nebraska got almost all of them. Obviously, Lofton went to Florida State, and then they lost one to Stanford in there. But I think to do what they did, it's not easy. I mean, you look at other states around the country to lock all your local talent down. Iowa has a hard time doing it in Iowa, and Kansas obviously can't do it in Kansas.
Colorado can't do it for
Colorado
sure.
doesn't take anybody.
Yeah.
But I think for what Nebraska did, especially the last 2 years in state, it is not easy to do, and give Matt Rule and his staff credit. They've really emphasized locking down the top in-state players.
Yeah, and we haven't talked to him yet. We will after this, but even talking about, having the #1 linebacker essentially in the country with the Butkus Award winner.
Yeah, Christian Jones is going to join us here on set, and was named the high school Butkus Award winner over some very good players around high school football.
Yep.
And he's the #1 prospect in the state of Nebraska and the consensus rankings, and and what he's done, and he's what he's done as a freshman. I mean, he was offered by a lot of Power 5
Oh, yeah.
programs after his freshman year. So for him to handle that pressure and get to this point tonight where he's carrying that Butkus Award winner
Yeah.
into our studio, a pretty special run, and it's just starting for him.
All because of good parents. That's why.